Well, hello everybody, Dr. Sebastian here, and I want to show you how to do a push-up in the proper form with some variants. So you can grow strong, firm man boobies like this. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bam, bam, bam. We're going to start with the standard push-up. You have to find a piece of ground, okay? I've got a piece of ground right here, not difficult to do. Now the purpose of the push-up is to build, for the most part, the chest muscles, strengthen the chest muscles, build size, but it's also important for the tricep, and it works a little bit of the front of the shoulder. Now, when we're placing our hands, we want to place our hands about shoulder width or just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. You could vary that and it'll hit a little bit different fibers throughout the chest. So let's go a little bit wider than shoulder width. Now the fingers should not be pointing straight up. They should not be way out here. Fingers should be just about maybe 30 degrees that way. The reason being for this is that if we keep our hands this way, what we're doing is we're rotating the shoulder internally, and our elbows are going to be out here when we're doing the push-up. That's going to load the front of the shoulder significantly, and that can start to create damage and problems over time in the shoulder. The focus here is, the main focus is the chest. So in order to engage the chest the best, we want to spread those fingers out like that, shoulder width apart. Standard push-up, get on your toes, start in this position. Now, from the top view, you're going to go down here, and you could see my arms in relationship to my rib cage should be at about 30, 45 degrees, and back up. And back up. So nice and slow. You should really bring your body slow, just touching, just barely nicking the ground with your chest, and coming back up. Now, you don't have to go to full lockout, because when you go to full lockout, you take the tension off the chest. You want to have tension on the chest all the time. So when you do the push-up, come all the way down till the chest hits the floor, and right about here. You don't have to go to full lockout, because right now, you lost all the tension in the chest, and you're not working the chest at all. So right there was the proper tempo and the proper form for a push-up. Now you may ask yourself, well, this is going to be difficult because I can't even do a push-up. So let me show you a variation. So this is a variation. If you do belong to a gym or you have a squat rack, you could always find a band and some pegs like this. And this is going to help you. This band is from Rogue Fitness, and the band works really good. I've had this for years and it hasn't torn on me yet. Again, same kind of setup, fingers out to the side, just a little bit further than shoulder width. And that makes it a lot easier to do the push-up. And these bands, they vary. They could be really thin, which won't help a lot. Or you could get really thick ones, which I have hanging somewhere around here, that are that thick, which will take a lot of your body weight off, so you'll be able to do more of those easier. So that's one variation. Another variation is just to get into this position. Instead of being on your tippy toes, stay on your knees and come down and back up. If that gets easy, push the knees further back and back up. Make sure the hands are positioned correctly and back up, okay? And then once you start getting those, go even further back. And now slowly start to get on your tippy toes, and then you could come off your knees, tippy toes, get on your knees, and then you're going to get into a rhythm over time where you're going to be able to just stay on your toes and do the standard push-up. So those are kind of like the scaling Now, you could do scaling if it gets too easy. So for example, you're doing standard push-ups, you're pounding out like 30, 40, 50 of them, and you're like, well, I want to make this a little more difficult. Here's a way to do it. So instead of using the band underneath your chest, you're going to use it on top of your back to make this difficult. Very simply, take a band like this, put your hands through, right across your back, just like this. Get into your position. Now that makes things quite a bit more difficult. And again, you could do progressive overload. In other words, as you get stronger, you want to use thicker and thicker bands to make it harder and harder. Chest is going to go stronger, bigger, and that's what we want. So that is the bands here. Now, I want to show you one that you may say, hey, you know what? I want to work different parts of my chest. So this is kind of just working the mid. I'm going to show you how to actually vary the angles on this next one. All right, guys, so now I'm going to show you some variations in terms of actually hitting different parts of the chest. So we've got more of the upper, the mid, and the lower chest. Let's concentrate on more of the upper chest. And again, for this, you can use a band to make it more difficult, like I just showed you a second ago. When you bring the level up, you're working more of the upper chest. It's going to be easier than working the lower chest. So let me show you here. I think everybody has access to at least 3 or 4 stairs at home, so there's no excuses for not doing this. And so here, let me just move this out of the way. So here's what we want to do. Find about the 3rd stair. Get into position. Everything is kept nice and straight. And fingers just like we showed before, shoulders just a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And you could vary it. So as we go down the stairs, it makes it a little more difficult. And this, in this kind of manner, with going up or down the stairs, when our upper body is a little higher than our feet, we're hitting more of the upper chest. Now, if we want to hit more of the lower chest, we do the opposite. So we could start with one stair, or go up to a higher level. Or go up to even a higher level. So as you can see, you could vary the angles, and so this will never get boring because you have all these different angles, all these different variations. So I hope that helps. Hope you guys have some good ideas of how to do this. There's also one, before I go, let me show you a bonus. Let's go over here. I have these rings from a company named Rogue, which is one of the leaders in like fitness. They supply like CrossFit, and they're very well known in like the home gym community. But so these are rings on these straps that I got from Rogue. If you're going to get rings, make sure that they're wooden. Do not get the plastic ones. They don't have any good grip on them. So here we have the rings. Now, we could do a push-up on here. And this time we could actually go a little bit lower. And we also are using much more stabilization muscles of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder, because these are all free. It's not stabilized. It's not like the ground where it's in place. So it does use more muscles, but it's a great variation as well once you get good at the standard push-up. So hopefully that helps. Get to pushing up, And make sure that you're balancing this out with back work, doing pull moves. And I'll show you on the next video, I'll show you some great ideas for doing back pull moves without much equipment or no equipment at all.